are we all out there doing there tonight? Hopefully you guys are all having a great evening and been keeping up on the election results that have been coming in. If not, that's why I'm here right now, to give you my take on everything that is going on in our current election cycle and the election results as they have currently come in at this point. A little bit behind on my planned broadcast for tonight, but hey, you know, things are what it is, and I'm a busy person. I actually work for a living, unlike some of those out there that report on the news. They just create a lot of fiction for a living and then expect us all to swallow what they are serving us. So tonight, let's break down what we got for election results right now and see about bringing that all onto the screen here so that we can see what is going on. And there we are. We've got the current election cycle that is happening here in Alaska, and currently the votes have been coming in over and over again. Let's just do a quick refresh and see if there's anything new that may have popped up here on the screen. But we got the election summary report here in front of us, and these are the unofficial results. And I'm going to do a quick backup on screens here. Let's bring up what the newer election reporting is. That was at 14%. I understand they're at about 50% right now. Hopefully you were able to get out and cast your vote today on the ballot and be able to pick your favorite candidates. This is one of the most important elections that we have had in a very long time. And there we go. Now we're a little bit better. They're up to 24%. All right, so currently we got our U.S. Senator seats, and we got Patricia Chesbro, who only has 9% of the vote, with about 13,000. Lisa Murkowski is running a second place right at now at 59%, and Kelly Tshibaka has got a whopping 47%. And but just remember, there are a lot of ballots that are not going to be counted tonight. We won't know the official results until the 23rd of November. So we still got several weeks before we'll find out if they've won or not. Technically, they're supposed to declare the election if they have 51% of the vote, 50% plus one vote, and they win the election. But if there's enough outstanding ballots that are out there, the ones that are mail-in, the ones that are coming in from the military, and even all of those early voting ones that will not be counted tonight, and that one really confuses me when I heard that being said by the Alaska news source earlier here as I was listening into their conversation to us all. It was just trying to figure out exactly what they were talking about and what they were reporting on the election results. They're trying to say there was like 51% of the vote that was showing, but I'm only showing 24% on my screen, so they must have more updated information than what they're giving the rest of us, which wouldn't surprise me. Mainstream media always seems to be one leg up on what the actual votes are. And so hopefully we're looking at the U.S. Senator race there, and Chesbro is going to be definitely all her. Hopefully they ranked the vote there. And if they didn't rank the vote, Chesbro's, all those 13,000 people's second choice that they didn't make is not going to count. Lisa Murkowski is behind by almost 9,000 votes behind Kelly Tshibaka right now. And Kelly Tshibaka has a strong, solid lead at 47%. And you know, all those Democrats, if they did put a second place in there right now, they all went for Lisa because she is as close to a Democrat as you can get in this race. And I'm surprised she didn't change her designation before actually running in this election. Now we got the U.S. House of Representatives that are up next. And you got Nick Begich with about 37,000 votes, at 25%. Got Sarah Palin, which is leading ahead of Begich by about 2 percentage points at 40,000 right at this point. And then you got Mary Patola with a whopping 65,000 or 44% of the vote. Hopefully what we saw in the primaries doesn't happen the same way here again. If it does, quarter of Begich's voters aren't even going to rank anybody else. And then the other ones are going to rank Mary Patola in overwhelming numbers, and a very small percentage are going to rank Sarah Palin after that. And we'll be watching Mary taking on back going to DC again, and she was only there for 3 weeks and she already signed on to the Democrat agenda. So hopefully we've got some smart Alaskans out there that didn't listen to the mainstream media, but looking at where the Constitution yes vote currently stands at, they listen to the mainstream media, they listen to the swamp. Us Alaskans are so ignorant when it comes to what is going on in the political world. It's astounding, and how much deep, dark money can be flooded into Alaska. We are such a cheap date to buy votes from. You can see it in different races as I go through them here today. And I'm only going to go through this once, and then we'll do a quick recap over the top of them to see if there's any vote changes by the time I'm through them all. And then we'll decide what we want to do from there. But I'll probably be calling it a night at that point. So now we got the governor's race for lieutenant governor. We got Governor Dunleavy right now with 53% of the vote, almost 54% of the vote. If we go by the current ranked choice voting, he could be declared the winner tonight. But that really all depends, again, on all of those mail-in, early voting, and the ones that we're waiting for, like our veterans or military that are overseas, that still have yet to cast their votes, and those votes have yet to arrive. They got 10 days. It'll be the 23rd before we actually know. But currently looking at the numbers, neither Guerra or Walker's votes totals combined can even compete against Dunleavy right now. So it's a good possibility right now Dunleavy is going to be the next governor of Alaska. I'm hoping that is the case, and Bruce Pierce, Pierce and Grunwald. Pierce is sitting with only about 7,000 votes and with 4%, and I don't see him moving up in the race at all. The big scandal behind him and everything that was going on for Charlie Pierce there and in Kenai, and the allegations made against him really did put any hampering on his ability to get any good votes this time around. But I'm not seeing much difference between what he has now and what he had during the primaries. So not much of a change going on, but still, we're only got 25% of the vote that's currently come in. So we got Senate District A, and that's Mike Sheldon against Bert Stedman. Bert Stedman is a long-term incumbent, has been around forever, been trying to unseat him for many, many years, and Bert Stedman has 66% of the vote right now, with 29% of that precinct reporting in. So the scary part about that current race in this current time, looks like Bert Stedman's going to go back. He always sits on the Senate Finance Committees, and he's the one that helped spend over $18 billion this last session that went directly into the swamp's deep, dark pockets. Same people that have spent $4.2 million telling us how to vote for the convention this year. So that just gives you an idea of where I stand with him. Jesse Keel, running in his own race. There's no way anybody could ever beat him because there's nobody running against him. 349 write-in votes at only 4%, so he has a whopping 95, almost 96% total in the votes there for his election. So Keel is definitely walking away with this one. No surprise, I'm calling the race now. Jesse, you've won. Sad to see you're going back to Juneau. It looks like the swamp gets another win for them. So Senate District C, we got Walter Jones, Heath Smith, Gary Stevens. Right now, Gary Stevens is the incumbent. He has been around forever, and you can see by the vote totals there, he's got 40,300 votes there, 51% of the current vote that is out there. And then Heath Smith is coming in second place right now with 35% of the vote. And Walter Jones has a little over 1,000 votes. And that's just at 30% there for that current election. Right now, sadly, I'm going to call that one for Gary Stevens just by looking at the way the vote counts are currently coming in. I don't see the votes changing too much in the ranked choice portion of it. If anything, Gary Stevens will increase by double digits if it has to eliminate, say, Walter Jones, unless they all went for Heath Smith instead. But that's a really sticky situation. So Gary, I'm going to probably say he's got that race. All right, the big one that's going on in Kenai, the one that a lot of people have been watching, is the Tuckerman Babcock, Jesse Borkman, Andy Civics, and the nonpartisan. I'm glad to see he's got about 10% of the vote, about 1,000 people. But the big race is between Jesse and Tuckerman. They are battling it out, duking it out. Borkman, he has the deep stated dark money that is behind his campaign right now. He is one of the legislators that I've seen that has had television ads actually running. So that tells you how much dark money, and I'll keep repeating that out loud, dark money that has been flooded into his campaign. Because for a nobody to be doing that well in an election, and versus Tuckerman Babcock, who has more of a really solid following there in the political realm and in the civic level of just the regular everyday person, to see somebody that had no name all of a sudden outperforming and receiving enough money to be able to run advertising on television, that says a lot for their campaign. Now, next one we got is same situation going on here. Is you got Roger Holland against Kathy Giesel and then Rosalind Casey, and this is a race that is very slanted, of course, towards the Republicans. The Democrat really has no chance in this race whatsoever. And just like with the Borkman and Tuckerman situation going there, Kathy Giesel has received tons of money. She used to be the senator in that district, and then she got unseated in 2020. A very big grassroots campaign out there. I was a part of it. Many people that I know was a part of it to make sure she didn't win, and that Roger Holland did. And it's really sad to see how much deep, dark money pockets have flooded into her election, advertising her also on television. She is one of the, so there's only 4 that I am aware of that have television ads running on TV. Most of them are radio or flyers going out, things like that, stuff that a low budget campaign, one that doesn't have that deep, dark money coming in, can afford. They are the grassroots campaigns. And so I'm really worried about what direction that is going on right now. That is a really tight race. I really hope Holland pulls it out. Currently looking at the way the totals are going right now, it's too early to call it. This one's going to go towards rank unless there's more of a vote come out in the end. No matter what, that's going to be a ranked choice voting decision on the 23rd that will have to determine that race. Okay, Senate District F. This is James Kaufman against Janice Park. And Janice Park is the Democrat in that race, and Kaufman is the incumbent Republican. And he has 5,800 votes versus the 4,000 votes that Janice Park currently has, 58% of the vote. I'm going to call this one for Kaufman. I know it's early. There's only 33% of the vote in for his area. But I'm going to call this one for James Kaufman at this point. Unless things change when I refresh, Kaufman is there. And like I said, this is the only time I'm going to do a deep rundown through all of the votes. We'll refresh one last time, recap on everything that's out there, and just numbers-wise, and see how much solid this continues to pan out here. All right, Senate District G, we got L.V.J. Gray Jackson and Marcus D. Sanders. Sanders is behind Elvie. I'm really hoping for Sanders to win this race. Elvie Jackson's day in Juneau should be up. She is one of those that works for the special interest. Her agenda is for the special interest. And if you don't fit in her criteria for special interest, your voice and your votes don't matter anymore. It's all about them, and Marcus was bringing a whole new flavor to the profile there in that district. I really am hoping out for Marcus there. Cross our fingers. Sadly, right now, LV has 51% of the vote, but only 26% of that precinct has done in. All right, they got Senate District 8. Another hot contested race. A lot of smear campaigns going on in this one. A lot of fake news that flooded out towards the last few days of this election. You got Matt Clayman against Mia Costello. Matt Clayman is bought and owned by the judicial branch of our government. everything that has to do with the judicial branch. Matt Clayman is definitely in the center of it all, and he's the one that's helping these outside groups also bring all of these current lawsuits that are afflicting our political process. They're judiciating, or they're putting everything to the bench to decide where the future of our voices in our elections are going. Got Eastman as one case that is currently going on right now for his participation in being in January 6th. And then you've got Kevin McCabe that's being sued, and these are all personal lawsuits. This is nothing that the state is paying for. These people are being sued because somebody else out there has a little tizzy fit that thinks their rights have been terribly wronged in their opinion because of who these people are or what they may represent. Kevin McCabe and Laura Reinbold, I know, are two of them out there that are currently facing lawsuits, and this is money that they got to pay for these lawsuits out of their own pockets. For supposedly banning somebody off of their own personal accounts. These weren't paid for state accounts, paid for legislative accounts. These were their own personal accounts where their First Amendment rights are not infringed by the political process on whether or not you can ban somebody or not. So bottom line is this is more frivolous lawsuits costing. Why would anybody want to run for office if you know you personally are going to be liable for anything that happens out there and have to pay for it for frivolous lawsuits because somebody's feelings got hurt? So that's Mia and Matt out there for Clayman. Matt Clayman is slightly losing behind Mia. I'm really crossing my fingers for Mia. I want to see 50+1 by the end of today. I would really love to see her closer to 54, 60% by the time this race is over with. That would really make me feel solid to say she's won this one right now. So we'll have to wait and see, or she may be a 23rd before we get to find out in November. All right, Senate District 1, and that is Heather Herndon against Loki G. Tobin, and an undeclared against a Democrat. I've heard a lot about Loki Tobin, and I'm very worried knowing the district that they are sitting in right now. And that one is, wow, showing 90% of the district out there has been voted on that one. So this has really, really done a lot of jumping up. I was looking at the wrong percentage totals out there. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, this is 90%. So most of them are at 90% or better, or 50% or better. So Heath Herndon is losing. Loki is taking it. That's a scary one that's going to be sitting in Juneau. All right, we have Senate District J. We got Andrew E. Statfield, Garen Tarr, and Forrest Dunbar. Oh my gosh. So Garen Tarr is getting her butt handed to her. She is definitely not doing very well. It's about time. Her time in office is definitely time to go. Sadly, though, those same people that have been keeping her in power have now been voting for Forrest Dunbar. And and I'm scared to say it looks like Forrest Dunbar is going to pull out that seat in Senate District J. And if you think he was bad for a while on the Assembly and bad for Anchorage, just imagine what he's going to do on a state level now. I really, really am scared what the next couple, 2-3 years are going to look like down there in Juneau with these people that are going to be going down there. We really needed the Constitutional Convention to happen, and that dark money convinced way too many people not to vote for it. So Senate District J, we got John Cunningham and Bill Wielechowski. Bill Wielechowski is squeaking a slight lead. I call it squeaking a slight lead because he's only about 600 votes ahead of John Cunningham. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. I'm going to call it for Bill Wielechowski, though. But it's still only sitting with 77% of the vote that's coming in from there. So we'll have to wait and see. That's quite a bit of distance. So I'm on the fence for the Bill Wielechowski. We'll find out when we refresh. All right, where is the union money going? We got Senate District L. You got Kelly Merrick and Ken McCarthy. The unions have bought and paid for Kelly Merrick. She has been lockstep with the Democrats ever since she got into office. She sold out her constituents' voices. She has been sanctioned by that district. They'll no longer be allowed to be in the Republican Party. Does not mean that they can take away her Republican status, just means that they're not going to financially support her or do anything into helping her. But the deep-stated deep pockets of our Alaska AFL-CIO, the unions of Alaska, have flooded her campaign with all the contributions that she needs, and she's running a very tight race against Ken McCarthy. And Ken McCarthy would hands down be a much better choice than Kelly Merrick. But money buys Alaska. Alaska is a cheap date when it comes to our elections. You can see that Kathy Kiesel, Barkman, Mary Patola, and you can see it with Murkowski. We are a cheap date. And Alaskans just don't realize that, and they need to start paying attention. That dark money, it doesn't take much from that DC swamp money to flood into our state to buy our elections and put in the people they want. Just the NEA of Alaska, $500,000 to the convention no campaign. That's how much they donated of their $20 million that they collect in union dues every single year. So when you hear me rallying about unions and stuff like that, this isn't just limited to the IBUs of America or anything like that. This encompasses all of them, all of their 60,000 plus members here registered in Alaska. 60,000 times $1,000. Tell me how much in union dues do they have to spend every single year buying our elections here in Alaska? And we're, like I said, we're a cheap date when it comes to buying our elections. All right, Senate District M, Shelley Hughes against Jim Cooper. Man, Shelley, congratulations. Glad to see you're going back to Juneau. There is no question who won this election. Way to go, Shelley. You deserve it. Glad to see you going back to Juneau. Jim Cooper would not have been good for Alaska. So we got next Senate District N. This is a hot race that I personally have been watching because it has an incumbent in it that I have been wanting to be removed from Juneau for a very long time. Could have happened 2 years ago, but darn Republicans, inner turmoil, split the vote, and they gave him the seat against the Democrat in the general election. Ranked choice voting, let's see where we stand at right now. Excuse me. So you got Scott Clayton, who is currently bringing up third place with 1,600 votes. David Wilson has 2,500 votes, and Stephen Wright has 1,881 votes. Now, if you were paying attention to the primary race in 2020 against David Wilson, he had Stephen Wright running against him, and Scott Clayton wasn't that other person, but we'll pretend he was. It was Santa. And so we've got Stephen Wright and Scott Clayton, and we are going to go to ranked choice voting for this particular one. Those that are voting for Scott Clayton right now and Stephen Wright, they don't like David Wilson. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one really does play out when it comes to ranked choice voting. I see it to become a very, very tight race for David Wilson in the end. If you combine their two votes together, Scott Clayton and Stephen Wright right now, and they ranked like they needed to be doing, David Wilson will not be going back to Juneau. Crossing my fingers that's the case. We'll soon find out. And I'll probably be yelled at for saying what I had to say today. But, you know, these are my own opinions. I'm allowed to say what I want. All right, Senate District O, we've got Mike Shower and Doug Massey. Doug Massey is another one of those that has had the deep, dark, deep state money flooded into his campaign. Unions want him put into office. He's all for defined benefits. He is all for a sustainable PFD, which is code word for business as usual. Government gets their cut first, and whatever may be left over goes to Alaskans. Same football we're going to be seeing down in Juneau coming in January again this year. And that football is going to continue to keep getting kicked down the road because Alaskans were too stupid to vote yes for the Constitutional Convention. I got no better way to put it. I'm sorry. I would love to call you ignorant, but I'm going to call you stupid because you believe the deep, dark money pockets, the running their advertisements. Every time a commercial came on, Convention No was there was their advertisement, and then it usually followed up with a Mary Patola after that, and then it depended upon the day, a Kathy Giesel or a Borkman or somebody along those lines on television that has the deep union money trying to buy our elections and keep their power and control in Juneau. All right, we're going to go down to the next one here. And like I said, I'm crossing my fingers. Looks like Mike Shower may have this race already. 50% of the vote, and but there's only 71% of the district that has turned in so far. But Shower is the stronger of the two choices, and he was out there campaigning hard every single day. Doug Massey, I've seen him only at 2 different events throughout this entire election season, and both of them was because they were very influential people that had money, and that was why he was at those events. Other than that, he could really care less of showing up at anything out there. And yet here was Mike Shower. If he was not working and flying like his job, his normal job that has him doing, he was literally at every event that you could possibly think of. He was all over the place, and he really put a lot of work into this campaign. I hope them the best, and looking like that may be that case. All right, next one, Senate District P. We got Alex Jaffrey, we got Scott Kawasaki, and Jim Matterly. Oh man, did you hear the whining and crying about Scott Kawasaki here the other day on the internet? If you didn't, please go visit his website or his Facebook page anyways, and you can read all about what he had to whine and cry about. Oh man, oh man, the feelings are so hurt. I feel for you, Scott, I really do. Currently in that one, Jim Matterly is running a strong, solid second against him with 45% of the vote there, and Kawasaki is sitting with 48% of the vote. And those that voted for Alex Jaffrey, the other rep in the race, he's with 300 votes with 6% of the vote. So if this one going to rank just by the current numbers that are sitting there, and it's only 75% tallied at the one that I'm looking at right now, those on the ranked choice voting that voted for Jaffrey, if they ranked Jim Matterly second, he could have this race, and Scott would be not going back to Juneau, which would be a very positive thing to have happening in Alaska. This is going to too close, so maybe a refresh will give us a better idea for that race. All right, going into the next one, Senate District Q. We got Arthur Sekharov, John Burnett, and Robert Myers. Robert Myers is the incumbent. Oh man, he's got this race, 67%. John and Arthur, they don't even have enough votes combined between the two of them to even narrow the gap there. Congratulations, Rob Myers. You'll be heading back to Juneau once again. I am calling your race for you right now. I think that's 3 I've called now for the Senate districts that are out there. All right, Senate District R, we got Elijah Verhagen, Click Bishop, ooh, oh man, that sucks too, looking at his votes, and Robert Williams. We've got the votes out there. Click Bishop is just pulling out the lead, and that is really, really sad to see. He is not a Republican. He is bought and paid for by the establishment, and he answers only to the establishment. So to see 54% of the vote there for him, where the other two combined only comes up to 44%, even with ranked choice at this current point in time. But let me throw a big curveball out there looking up at the top. Only 35% of the vote has come in for that district. So there are a lot of missing votes for that current race right at the moment. Hopefully Elijah got out there. I know he was campaigning hard. I saw him all over the place. He was constantly everywhere and doing interviews and being at different local events, and he didn't miss out on anything, and visiting the more remote communities that he used to represent, something that Click Bishop doesn't seem to understand, that he's supposed to represent all people, not just the special interests that currently, as you can see by the vote count that they have right now, that want him back into office. Senate District 8, we got Lyman Hoffman, Democrat, 366, only 3% of the vote. That's not even worth looking at. And Willing Keppel, this is the Bethel District. I know this race very well. I'm wishing Willie Keppel the best of luck right now. I'm hoping he pulls the race out. Lyman Hoffman does not need to be going back to Juneau. He's been bad for the area. He would be no different than the Zimmerman or whatever her name was that was there before, where, you know, the bottom line for the both of them, the PFD belongs to them. It doesn't belong to Alaskans. Any way that they can expand education or the cost of health care and pass it on to the working class of Alaska, they'll vote for it. As for the rest of Alaskans that got to pay for it, oh well, you were stupid enough to vote for them. You get what you pay for. But when you're pretty much sole survival is off of the welfare system and government for your survival in the communities that you live in, I guess that's where you kind of got to really look at how the votes are reflected for a lot of those races that are going on. Excuse me if I've offended anybody out there, but if you actually go and pay attention to the actual money and how it is spent and where it goes, the only people you should be offended at is yourselves for allowing government to pay for your lifestyle. All right, next race that we have out there, we got House District 1, and we got Dan Ortiz and Jeremy Bynum. I don't actually know anything about Jeremy. I'm surprised he missed my radar, because Dan Ortiz is another one of those that I would love to see go and out of Juneau. So Jeremy, I'm wishing you the best of luck. That is a really, really tight race right now. 9 out of the 10 districts, 90% of the vote is in at the moment. Please, Jeremy, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Everybody. All right, cross your fingers, folks. House District 2, we got Rebecca Himshoot and Kenny Skelfestad. Probably slaughtered the both of them. Nonpartisan against a Republican. I don't know anything about either one of these two, too. I've heard a little bit about Kenny. Rebecca is totally blindsided on my end, so this must be one of those real rural ones that is staying under everybody's radar. And because their names have not been tossed out there, but the nonpartisan has 2,400 of the vote at 55%. We'll have to see where that goes. 11 out of 15 precincts, 73%. House District 3, oh man, I know this one. Andy Story, and you can, as you can see, there is no contest in this race because that is the only person that is running. So Andy Story will be going back to Juneau, and gives the Democrat majority control of the way. The more I keep looking into this race, the more I'm going to say we're going to be seeing the same thing we've seen over the last 7 years. Republicans pretending that they have the power while the Democrats are shooting all the shots and have all the key positions and dictating where all the money is going to be spent. House District 4, we got Sarah Hannon against Daryl Harmon. Sarah Hannon, oh man, so sad, is got 3,500 votes against Harmon, who has 900, and a clear victory there. Congratulations, Sarah Hanna. You're going back to Juneau. Sad news for all Alaskans. House District 5, all right, we got Benjamin Vincent against Louise Stutes, the Kodiak. Oh my gosh, this is a Republican against a rhino, someone that should have declared herself a definite Democrat, and we need to do something if she does get reelected to take her pins away. If I have to sit there and listen through more House sessions of her just doing click, 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 click throughout the entire thing on the floor, I will just completely rip out every last remaining hair that I have, and I don't have a lot of hair left. So that's the way I feel about that race. Come on, Benjamin. I listened to you on the Michael Dukes show. I've heard a lot about you already. I wish you the best of luck today. Hopefully the votes continue to keep coming in. That's only 50% of the precincts have tallied up so far. So it's a pretty tight race. Louise doesn't have it quite pulled away enough right now. for me to say she has this with no qualms about it. All right, House District 6, you got Louis and Flora, and it looks like Flora, Sarah Vance, and Ginger Bryant. And don't know who Ginger Bryant is, somebody that never made my radar. I know who Louis Flora is, and Sarah Vance, and I'm wishing Sarah Vance the best of luck. So far, it looks like she's got this race hands down. 8 out of 9 precincts have already tallied in. I'm calling this one for Sarah Vance, Homer area, Kenai Peninsula. Good luck. It looks like you've won this one. Glad to see you going back to Juneau. House District 7. Ooh, another contested race down in the Kenai area. Now, this is another one of those that has the deep-stated swamp paying for someone to get elected, and that's Justin Ruffridge. He has had so much dark money flooded in towards his campaign and pushing for his vote to be down there. He is a yes man. He has already said the PFD belongs to the government and not the people of Alaska. He is more than happy to say what your medical rights are. You have none. You're going to do as he dictates, and that is the way he will be when he gets down to Juneau. He is bought and owned and paid for by the special interest. So Ron Gillum, I am crossing my fingers at 100% of the vote that's in right now. Mail-in balloting or something along those lines are going to be our only hope. And cross our fingers, Ron, you pull it off, because Justin will not be good for Alaska. And that PFD battle is looking grimmer and grimmer as I keep going through. House District 8, we got Ben Carpenter all by a little lonesome. Congratulations, Ben, going back to Juneau. All right, we got House District 9, David Shaft against Laddie Shaw. Laddie Shaw looks like he's the incumbent, and going by the current vote count, he will be going back to Juneau. Still slightly early to call, only 6 out of 9 precincts, 66% of the vote in so far. And but it looks like Laddie Shaw's got a comfortable enough lead that he's outdoing the Democrat in the race of David Shaft. So I'm comfortable to say I'm going to call that one for Laddie Shaw just because I know the district well enough. House District 10, we got Michael Isilako, Craig Johnson, and Caroline Storm. Very interesting race going on there. Craig Johnson looks like he's currently holding the vote for count in that current district. Going to be interesting to see what happens with the mail-in voting, though, because in this particular district, the mail-in could end up screwing over Craig, and Caroline will come out with the win in the end of it, and ranked choice could also cause that to happen. But I see the Libertarians, 258 votes going over to Craig Johnson if they did rank. They're not going to vote for Caroline Storm. So it's going to come down to the mail-in votes and the early voting, the ones that have not come in yet that we won't know anything until they hit that little red button on the 23rd and do the ranked choice voting part of everything to divulge what the rest of the totals would be. All right, House District 11. We got Walter Featherly, Ross Bellings, and Julie Columb. And Julie is pulling this one out, it looks like, by a squeaker right at the moment. Walter Featherly is pulling in a second, just barely a second. And those that voted for Ross Bellings, it looks like he's got about almost 17.5% of the vote. Ranked choice is going to be the determining one on this one. I would almost say if those that voted for Ross did actually rank, Julie's got this race. It's still too early to call. All precincts have voted and recorded in on here. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. All right, House District 12, we got Calvin Strage and Jay McDonald. Calvin Strage is holding a solid lead, 6 out of 6. Calvin, looks like you're going back to Juneau again. Really sad to see that. Jay, it looks like you gave a nice solid excuse me. Jay gave a really solid showing there. I don't see you pulling out the numbers needed. Calvin, congratulations. See you in Juneau. All right, we got Kathy Hensley against Andy Josephson. This is a very, very heated, contested race. This is one many people out there are watching. A lot of money got thrown into this race. Kathy Hensley is at 100% of all votes tallied so far, has a very, very small lead in this race. Can't call this race for House District 13. Hensley, I'm wishing her the best of luck right now. I really want to see a change there. Andy, your time is up. You've been in Juneau for too long, and you're bad for Alaska. So cross our fingers, folks. Mail-in voting, something along those lines. Give us what we need there. House District 14, we got, Elise Galvin, Alaska's dumber version of than a box of rocks and AOC. I've always called her the Alaska AOC clone every time she has run for Congress. And her, ow, you hurt my hand, when she would shake Don Young's hand. The little games that she played against Nicholas Danger. This has not been a very advertised race. The deep, dark money has been, Nicholas just never got much of a following going on out there. And Elise has her congressional run, deep, dark, Democrat-funded money flooding into her campaign. They're like anybody that has the unions in Alaska is working for them. They're out there door knocking. The same people that have been door knocking for Forrest Dunbar, the same ones that work for Elise Galvin. Give you kind of a clue of the clique that this is all connected to. All right, House District 15. We got Denny Wells against David Elbeck and Tom McKay. Tom McKay is in second place, is not doing so well against Denny Wells. It's gonna, and David Elbeck, the other rep in the race, way too early to call on this one. 4 out of 6 precincts that have reported for what I have in results in front of me right now. We'll come back on the refresh and see if that's changed. Like I said, I'm doing a full breakdown right now. The recap's going to be a very quick run through them all, see if any major changes, call the races if I can. And Tom McKay, he's got a good following out there. He's done pretty good down there in Juneau the last 2 years he's been there. Denny Wells is the swamp, and that's where you're seeing these votes at the moment. Going to come into mail-in and rank choice in the end on that one. Oh man, something is just making my throat itch away. My nose has been running all day long and it's just been going crazy. I hate allergies and being allergic to everything. It's a curse. All right, House District 16. We got Jeannie Armstrong, the Democrat, in that race against Liz Vasquez. Sorry about that, Liz. And she is slightly behind in this race. All precincts have reported in, so this one is going to come down to the mail-in votings. Way too close to call. It could still float in either direction. So right now, yeah, I'm not even going to call that race. Good luck, Liz. Maybe on refresh it might be something different, but that's 100% of the precincts. We're down to mail-in and early voting yet to be calculated for that. All right, Zach Fields, House District 17 against Harriet Drummond. 2 Democrats duking it out. Neither one of them is good for Alaska. Harriet Drummond, Zach Fields, Harriet Drummond, Zach Fields, Zach Fields, Harriet Drummond. Oh my God, it's a bloody mess. We got 6 out of the 7 districts there have reported in 85% of the vote. And it looks like Zach is going to pull this one off. And but this is a Democrat against a Democrat, so who knows where the mail-in voting is going to end up putting this one. I tell you, when it comes to the races anymore, mail-in is where it gets determined, and we don't get to find that out until the 23rd. Isn't that wonderful? All right, we got House District 18. We got Lynn Franks, Democrat, David Nelson, Republican, and Cliff Grow, another Democrat. There is 4 out of 4 precincts right now that have reported. David Nelson has the lead in that race, but it is only slight. When you're running against 2 Democrats and those 2 Democrat totals far outweigh yours, it's going to come down to ranked choice voting. Going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Look at how small that district is. 12,000 people and only 1,300 people voted. That is really, really sad totals going on there. 1,300 people. Shake my head. I'll bet. What does this district even, should it even exist if you're getting that kind of a turnout with only 4 precincts in it? All right, House District 19. We've got Genevieve Mina against Russell Wyatt, and they're both Democrats. Mina, I'm just going to say last names here, it's easier to pronounce, is pulling that one out by almost triple digits. Congratulations, you are going to Juneau. Going to be interesting to find out who you are. Until I just read your name there, and I've read it before when I was looking up everybody running, but I know nothing about you, so it'll be interesting to see. Oh, here's a hot race. All right, House District 20. We got Jordan Harria, Andrew Gray, Scott Colahas, and Paul Bauer. Andrew Gray, the Democrat, has the very solid lead. You've got 2 Republicans that are splitting the vote, which would combined is about 1,500. And then the Libertarian in the race at 162, Scott. So technically this one is, you could probably call it for Andrew Gray right now, but going by they're all Republicans, and even the Libertarian would have a hard time voting for that Democrat. All of theirs combined, I don't see it squeaking out enough votes, not with mail-in and early voting yet to be calculated into this. 5 out of 5 precincts, they're done counting out the both. They're down to the mail-in and everybody else that has yet to be calculated. 23rd will determine that day. Maybe we'll get lucky and someone will pull that one out in the end. We'll have to wait and see. All right, we got District 21. We got Forrest Wolf against Donna Mears. Forrest Wolf, I'm going to call and say he's got a lot, doing pretty good so far. We'll have to see what happens. Donna Mears, it's too early to call this race. Yeah, 3 out of 5 precincts still showing there. House District 22, 4 out of 4. All right, this one is done for now. We've got Stanley Wright against Ted Eshkid. And Stanley Wright is currently in the lead. He got a couple hundred extra votes. All the districts have reported in, so if there's going to be any changes there, it will be during the mail-in portion. Looking at how many people actually turned out for the vote on that one. Stanley, congratulations. Looks like you're going to be going to Juneau. Look forward to meeting you and getting to know more about you. House District 23, Jamie Allard against Roger Branson. Oh, yay. All right. Congratulations, Jamie Allard. You are going to be going to Juneau. Roger Branson, you are in a second place at half the total votes that Jamie got. So, yes, Jamie, congratulations. You will be going to Juneau, Alaska. Hard-fought, well-fought race. Glad to see you being there. Well-deserved. All right, House District 424, we got Daryl Nelson against Sharon Jackson against Dan Sadler. All right, Dan Sadler, who's got the deep state money, who's already on the record of saying that he will join any illegal binding caucus, selling out any of and all of his constituents' voices and votes, has declared that the permanent fund dividend belongs to government and any remaining crumbs, if he feels belligerent enough to be able to let you have it, will go to Alaskans. Against Sharon Jackson, who is fighting for all Alaskans, and Daryl Nelson, which is just a carbon copy of Dan Sadler with a D by their name instead of an R. Really sad to see the way that race is going right now. Dan Sadler looks like he has the total of that race, 6 out of 7 precincts reporting. House District 25, Delana Johnson against Lawrence Wood. Both Republicans. Delana Johnson has this one clearly won. Congratulations, Delana. You will be going back to Juneau once again. We got House District 26. We got Daniel Stokes against Kathy Tilton. Kathy Tilton, congratulations. You are heading back to Juneau. Not even going to read that race. You have won that one hands down. Again, congratulations, Kathy. It's going to be good to see you back down in Juneau again. Few fighters making it their way down. Ooh, another race that I'm really interested in and I've been following personally. We've got House District 27. We got David Eastman against Brendan Carpenter against Stuart Graham. And currently, right at this moment, David Eastman has pulled out a very solid lead. And we will have to see what happens when it comes to Brendan and Stuart and the ranked choice portion of that. Where did Brandon's voters, who did they rank second? This is also going to be a very interesting race because this is one race that will not be determined on the 23rd of November. This one is going to be adjudicated in our courts, and the judges are going to determine whether or not Eastman would be the next representative or not, and by ballot is going to be thrown out the window, and by bench is how this election is being decided. And when I brought up earlier in this broadcast about Reinbold and Kevin McCabe, they're facing the same similar type but different lawsuits that are being brought against them in the same regards of kind of the way it is against Eastman right now. And it's all against making sure that these people are punished, removed from office, make it financially cost them on a personal level. None of these battles are being paid for by us, the taxpayer. It's all coming out of their own income. And they're having to fight these frivolous lawsuits that are being brought forth by groups like 1630, Soros, and League of Women. You could just go on down the list. Siri, Alaska AFL-CIO, NEA Alaska, Rasmussen Foundation. Oh man, I gotta quit coughing. All these darn people's names keep slipping out of my mouth. I gotta stop right there. So, crossing my fingers, David Eastman is looking good and solid. I hope you really do win this on the ballot, because it'll be very interesting to see how a judge is going to rule on your case once you're duly elected by the citizens that you are to represent. And I look forward to be there in the courtroom, live streaming it to all of you out there. Going to be very interesting. All right, House District 28, moving on. Rachel Allen against Jesse Sumner against Jessica Wright against Steve Menard. This has been a very fun race to watch all the way around. Jesse Sumner has got the lead right now at 35%. Rachel Allen is in third place, 773. Steve Menard is sitting at 851. And Jessica Wright's got 517. And I'm taking the time to break down all their totals for a reason. This one is going to go to ranked choice voting to determine who the winner of this race is going to be. 6 out of 7 precincts on my screen right now, probably 7 out of 7 since I started all of this. And currently that right now in House District 28, it's going to boil down to ranked choice. Who ranked who second, who ranked who third. Jessica Wright's folks, if they ranked Rachel higher than they ranked Steve Menard for their second choice, Rachel could move into second position and Menard could move into third. Menard could lose or Rachel could lose and their votes could be added together. And how many of them actually put down Jesse Sumner as their second or their third or their fourth? When you got 4 Republicans running in a race, it's hard to say. You're splitting the vote every single time, and the only thing that's going to determine this race is that people were smart enough to rank all 4 of them. And that's how this boils down to. You have to rank them all when you get into this quandary of 4 Republicans and 4 of them that are pretty semi-decent all the way around. I wouldn't, there's not a single one of them. Well, I could, but I'm going to be nice for this broadcast and just leave it at that. Just because I do got to live in their areas too. They know how I personally feel about them, and I guess we'll just leave it at that also. Excuse me. House District 29. Elijah Haas and George Rauscher. George Rauscher almost triple digit leading in that race. Rauscher is going to be going back to Juneau. I don't see anybody else winning it. I'm calling it for George Rauscher, even though there's only 7 out of 9 showing on our screen right now. House District 30, we got Doyle Holmes, Kevin McCabe, and Joy Mendola. Don't know that name. I was not surprised. Every debate that we ever had, these people do not show up to them. But I've seen Kevin McCabe and Doyle Holmes at several different candidate debates and introductions and forums and stuff like that. And that is a tight race between the two of them. Going to be interesting to see who wins that, especially with ranked choice. How many that voted for Joy there ranked either one of those two? Hard to say. It's going to be very interesting, though, to see what that plays out. Currently, right now, Kevin McCabe has got just the slightest of leads by 30-some votes, and that's about it. House District 31, we got Kelly Nash, Maxine Dilbert, and Barton LeBon. LeBon needs to go bye-bye. Oh, it looks like that may be happening, but being replaced by Maxine Dibert. I'm sorry, I complain about people saying my name's wrong. Well, and my first name is Bert. And Kelly Nash, and currently right now, even combined vote between the two of Republicans is not enough to outdo the Democrat in this particular race. But only 2 out of the 4 precincts have shown there, so currently on the screen. So I'm going to skip right on by to the next one. District 32, we got Timothy Givens and Will Stapp Van Lawrence, and currently Will Stapp, the Republican, has the lead. Second place is the Democrat Van Lawrence, and then Timothy Givens, the other Republican in the race. I'm going to be tentatively calling this one for Will Stapp right now, unless there is a major change for write-ins or mail-ins for this particular district. But Will's got a good enough lead, and the other Republican there, if enough of his voters swing over into Will's area in the ranked choice part, that he's going to win this race hands down. Congratulations, Will. It's one of the few ranked ones I think I'm willing to call here at this point. House District 33, we got Mike Prax, and he's running all by himself. Congratulations, Mike's heading back to Juneau for another term. We got District 34, Gear Hopkins, Frank Tamazowski, and Nate DeMars. And, I am glad to see this going on so far. Frank Tamazowski. I know I'm slaughtering your last name, but I think I got it right. I'm doing my best. 2,088 votes against Gear Hopkins, who needs to go. Been in Juneau way too long, at 1,558. And then we have Nate DeMars with the back lead. If those that voted for Nate ranked Frank number 2, Frank will have an extremely solid lead, and no matter how many mail-in votes come in that are not being counted right now, or early voting that hasn't been counted right now, Gear is not going to Juneau again this year. But there's only 5 out of the 8 precincts showing currently on my screen. So that race is still kind of too early to call. House District 35, we got Kenyon Brown, Ashley Carrick, Kevin McKinley, and Ruben McDeal. Ashley Carrick, the Democrat, has a very strong, solid lead. And then you got Kevin McKinley and Ruben McNeil. Combined votes is still not enough to be able to beat the Democrat in this race. And then you got the conservative. I'm not too sure what the con is. That's the first time I think I've seen that one, with 182 votes. And so, yeah, this is still 7 out of 8, 1 precinct left, but that's Ashley is pulling that one pretty solid in there. I was really kind of hoping for Kevin McKinley myself, was who I was rooting for in that district. Moving on, in House District 36, we got Finch Fowler and Mike Cronk. Mike Cronk, congratulations, heading back to Juneau. But maybe not. Only 10 out of 40 precincts reporting there. Okay, I'm sorry, Mike. Maybe you're not going back. It's too early to call that race. Way too early to call that race. District 37, 1 out of 35 precincts. Man, this is what is your guys' problems there? Bryce Edgman, well, all right, Bryce, you already won that race. Who cares how many people in? Conrad McCormick, the uncontested race, another sure in. House District 39, we got Neil Foster and Tyler Ivanoff. And, wow, too early to call, 3 out of 28 precincts. District 40, uncontested, hands down, won that race already. Patovic, you are going back to Juneau again. Really sad to see no one ran against you. All right, Constitutional Convention, and this is at 56%. I can't wait to see what the refresh gives us, because they should be all up there by now. The no is outperforming the yes by double digits. Not happy to see that. And all of the court people, I voted no. Hopefully you all voted no, but just doing a quick browse through all the totals here. Little bit more even on the yes and no's is looking like, going down the scoring this year. A lot more people are voting no than they have in the prior election when it came time for retaining the judges. And I'm literally just scrolling through these because it's very rare you'll ever see a judge ever be unseated. We've only done one in my lifetime that I can recall. And but I still vote no for them every year anyways. I can't see these people going back again. All right, let's go back. We have ran through the entire race. We're going to refresh one last time here. Go back in there. This is going to be a real quick snap through and see where we're at. So we've got U.S. Senator, 225 of 402 precincts. Currently at this point, Murkowski and Kelly. Kelly is still, oh man, there's nothing changed here since the last time I looked at this. All right, let's do a refresh and see if maybe that helps. There's something else different there. Give me just a second, folks. We're just going to cover this one more time. Quick refresh on the screen, but I think we may have been working off a total of everything that was there, and there is nothing left, and it's 11 o'clock, so the precincts are closed. There's going to be no more updates tonight. So just a real quick recap. Kelly is killing it right now against Lisa Murkowski. And it's all going to boil down to who did they put down as their seconds for Buzz and Patricia. Did they put down Murkowski or did they put down Kelly? But Kelly right now has got a almost 8,000 lead. But we're only just a little over half the precincts have reported in that one, 55% of the vote. U.S. Representative currently right now, Mary Patola's got the lead by about 25,000 votes. Sarah's sitting at 40 and Nick is sitting at 37.5. At 41 for Sarah. Combined, if they actually did ranked choice voting this time, a Republican could walk away with this one and Mary would not be going down to D.C. again. Really hard to say what's going to happen. Did these people wake up? The Nick Bagage's group that voted for him this last election, or there during the primaries and the special election during the primaries, were they smart enough to actually rank people this time? And was enough of them ranking Sarah and not ranking Mary? Going by the percentage totals from last time, if we would have Sarah would have barely won if the ones that didn't rank at all would have actually ranked, and the ones that did rank Mary could have stayed there, but Mary wouldn't have won if those that didn't rank would have ranked. So that's kind of where that race stands at. Governor against lieutenant governor, and Pierce is dead last. Guerra and Walker combined sitting at about 60,000 votes, 30,000 each. And Dunleavy, he's got a solid 53%. Still only 225 precincts show in total there. Mike Selden against Bert Stedman. Again, yeah, none of these totals have changed, so I'm not going to rerun through this again. I'm not seeing anything here in this election cycle that has changed from what I had seen earlier. And I'll just go double check the real one that'll really tell us is where the convention vote is at the very end. If there's anything that's been updated since the last time I read this, but I think we covered it all, and it was nice to say we did it all in one run. We didn't have to go back through it all again. But the key races have been there. Constitutional Convention, yeah, still only showing the 56%, and that's after refreshing. So those are the race results as where they stand at tonight. I only called, I think, 7 or 8 of all the races that had been reported on tonight. Called the winners for those already. Watch the video if you're interested to find out who my picks are. Go into our website. You can find this video currently on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, both at Politadick and Politadick Unfiltered. We're also on Rumble now. This video should propagate to Rumble here in about the next 12 hours. You'll find it there. Help it so that we can actually live stream directly to them so you don't have to sit there and wait for it to propagate. Go and subscribe and follow to us on Rumble. You can find us rumble.com, Politadick, and you will pull us right up. Subscribe to us, follow us. As soon as we reach 100 subscribers, we can live stream to Rumble. We're looking forward to that. Another place will be uncensored and uncut. Someplace that YouTube and Facebook, things that we would have loved to have shown on live air, we were not allowed to because we would never be allowed on the platforms ever again if we did. If we get ourselves able to live stream to Rumble, we won't have to worry about that no more. We'll just stream directly to Rumble when we have events like that going on. But it takes supporters like you, people subscribing, following to make that happen. Also go to our website, politadick.com, and click that support button. Everything that goes to us goes right back into being used again and goes and helps us grow. It is greatly appreciated. And I'm not quite done with today's broadcast. I've got one last thing for you. How many of you guys out there suffer from electile dysfunction? It is a life-debilitating disease that affects millions and millions of Americans, hundreds of thousands of Alaskans every single year. And me and my Politadick MD and my Crackerjack medical team worked feverishly hard to come up with a cure. And we want to be able to help provide that cure to all of you. And so take a moment, watch this video, tell me what you think.
Question for you. Do you suffer from electile dysfunction? If so, we at Politadick MD have the cure. But before we get into that, please lend me your ears for just a moment and allow me and my Crackerjack medical team at Politadick MD explain what it causes electile dysfunction to happen. Hundreds of thousands of Alaskans, millions of Americans are afflicted by this horrible, deflating disease every year. It is predicted that nearly 75% of voting Americans will suffer from electile dysfunction at some point in their life. The first thing that usually goes through every Alaskan's head when it comes time to vote is, which one of those wannabe politicians will stand up on that soapbox and champion all of mine, favorite issues? Things like, what is a woman? Do all lives really matter? Why is indoctrination more important than an education? Why Democrat socialism will work this time? Or how about why is Johnny a walrus? This short list is just the tip of the iceberg of horrific examples that can cause people to suffer from this horrible, life-changing disease. There is no question why so many of us are suffering from electile dysfunction. Knowing that has made me go limp just thinking about it. It is a disease that does not discriminate. It affects men, women, and the clueless. Never before have Alaskans had so many choices to choose from. What if you or I make a mistake? Whom among them has the cure? I would go on, but I'm sure by now you don't even need to open this year's ballot to know you suffer from electile dysfunction. Our once rock hard, solid, firm convictions have gone limp as can be. Unlike all those other promises made by our clown show politicians claiming they have the cure for your electile dysfunction, all you have to do is vote for them. They have the cure for everything. All it will take, they say, is for you, me, to take one of their very tiny, little blue or red pills.
Okay, it's time to get serious now. We at Politadick MD have done some extensive testing to see how well their pills really do work. And here is what we came up with. If you are swallowing what they are dispensing, those on the left will tell us if you take one of their blue pills, they will make sure to fix all of your problems. It will cloud your minds, making you believe socialism will work this time, and big government is here to help you. As they empty our wallets, handing it over to the special interests, making claims they will take care of everything for us. Just take one of their tiny blue pills, vote for them, and all of your electile dysfunction problems will magically disappear. Trust us, they say. Now those on the right will tell you nearly the same thing. If you take their tiny little red pill, they too will make sure to fix all of your problems. They will limit government, they claim. They are here to help you. All it takes is for you to swallow one of our little red pills, vote for them, and they'll take care of everything for you. Trust us, they say. What could go wrong? They all exclaim as one. Well, never fear. We at Politadick MD are here to save the day. My crackerjack medical team and I have the cure. All it takes is for each and every one of us to take one of our all-American red, white, and blue patriotic pills. And you'll find all of our electile dysfunction problems will magically disappear. This red, white, and blue pill will once again have us voting. Then that special time comes, holding our ballots solidly in hand, with very firm, rock-hard, solid convictions, knowing you are electing people into office that work for all Americans and not the swamp that is currently in control of everything. Order your red, white, and blue Patriot pills by going to Politadick.com/ED. That is Politadick.com/ED. Your support will make sure our crackerjack medical team at Politadick MD has the resources necessary to combat all of our electile dysfunction problems that our government and mainstream media like to cover up. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Politadick on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. For all the fact checkers out there on social media, this is what you call satire. And don't forget, vote on November 8th. Rank the red. Have a great day and convention, yes! Vote yes on one. Well, thank you all for being here tonight, for putting up with me for the past hour or so, a little bit over an hour, walking through all the election results as they came in. I believe we've caught up with everything that is current for what they have out there today. There will be some more updates throughout the rest of the week coming in for the precincts that haven't reported in yet. And we still won't know what the totals will be until the 23rd of November, when all the mail-in and early voting is calculated and counted in also in all of these different precincts. Again, make sure to like and share this video. Subscribe to us on all of our channels, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. Here is a link. Snap a picture of your screen right now. Scan the QR code. Each one will take you directly to our pages out there on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and our website, Politadick.com. And we always could use your help and your support in growing. Click on the last one there, scan in that last QR code, make a small donation today. All proceeds go right back into doing what we are doing here. And it's your support that made this broadcast possible, and all of the streams earlier out there with the people that were campaigning, and all of the different forums, debates, assembly meetings, school board meetings that we are able to attend and partake in. Just like the next 4 school board meetings in the Anchorage School District, you will find us at that on November 14th. This is the next one that is going on. We will be there live streaming that to all of you. It is your support and your donations that made that possible for us to be able to do that. You guys all have yourself a great evening. Again, like and share this video, and I'll see you the next time.